Ellie Carter would later say, "The worst part about that house was how normal it looked. Because when something looks dangerous, you stay away. But when it looks safe, you walk right inside." And that's exactly what she did. The car engine was still running, even though they had already parked. Ellie sat in the passenger seat, staring straight ahead at the house. It wasn't what she expected. There were no broken windows, no warning signs, no overgrown yard, just a quiet, aging house, sitting between others that looked just as tired, like nothing bad had ever happened there. "You'll be okay here," her mother said. Ellie nodded. She didn't believe it, but she nodded anyway, because arguing wouldn't change anything. "How long?" Ellie asked. Her mother hesitated, just for a moment. "A little while." That wasn't an answer, but Ellie didn't push. She had learned not to. The engine shut off, and instantly, everything felt quieter than it should have. They walked up the path together, gravel crunching under their feet. Too loud. The air felt still, like the wind didn't come here. Before they could knock, the door opened. A woman stood there, smiling. "You must be Ellie." Her voice was warm, almost comforting. "Yes, ma'am," Ellie said. The woman looked briefly at Ellie's mother, then back at Ellie. "Come in, sweetheart. We've been expecting you." That word, expecting, stuck with Ellie, because she hadn't told anyone she was coming. The moment Ellie stepped inside, she felt it. Something was off. The house was clean. Too clean. Everything had a place. Everything lined up perfectly, like it had been adjusted. More than once. "Shoes off," the woman said gently. Ellie obeyed. "I'm Mrs. Harlow." Ellie nodded. "Nice to meet you." Mrs. Harlow smiled wider, but her eyes didn't change. Not even a little. They sat in the living room. Ellie perched on the edge of the couch, her suitcase still closed beside her, like she wasn't fully staying yet. Her mother and Mrs. Harlow talked quietly. Ellie only caught pieces. "Structure is important. Well-behaved. Temporary, temporary, that word again. Ellie held on to it, because temporary meant this wasn't forever. That's when she noticed them. 3 children, standing in the hallway, watching. They weren't smiling. They weren't curious. They were just watching. Ellie gave a small wave. "Hi." No one waved back. Mrs. Harlow noticed. "Oh," she said lightly. "They're just shy." They didn't look shy. They looked careful. "Why don't you say hello properly?" There was a pause, long enough to feel uncomfortable. Then one of them spoke. "Hi." Soft, measured. The others followed. Same tone, same volume, like they had practiced it. Ellie felt something shift in her chest. She didn't know why, but she didn't like it. Then, a small sound echoed somewhere in the house. A sharp click, barely noticeable. But one of the children flinched, just for a second. Then they went completely still. Ellie saw it. Mrs. Harlow didn't react at all. And that was worse because it meant it was normal. Eventually, Ellie's mother stood up. "Well, I should get going." It felt sudden. Too sudden. Ellie stood too. "Okay." Her mother hugged her. Quick, tight. "You'll be all right," she whispered. Ellie nodded. "Yeah." And just like that, her mother was gone. Door closed, car starting, then silence. Ellie stood there, longer than she should have, staring at the door. "Come along," Mrs. Harlow said gently. Ellie's room was small, a bed, a dresser, one window, nothing else, no decorations, no signs anyone had ever lived there. "You'll keep things tidy," Mrs. Harlow said. Yes, ma'am. Meals are at set times, chores are shared. Ellie nodded. That sounds fair. Mrs. Harlow smiled. I'm glad you think so. Then she paused, and her voice dropped slightly. This house works best when everyone follows the rules. Ellie felt it again, that shift, subtle but real. Yes, ma'am. Dinner was quiet, not normal quiet, wrong quiet. No one spoke, no one laughed. The children moved carefully, every motion controlled, measured, like they were being watched. Ellie adjusted how she sat, how she held her fork, trying to match them. Across the table, one of the younger children hesitated, just for a second, before taking a bite, then quickly corrected it, like they had almost done something wrong. That night, Ellie couldn't sleep. The house made sounds, soft ones, wood shifting, floorboards settling. Then, footsteps, slow, measured somewhere outside her room. Ellie held her breath, listening. The steps stopped. Silence. Then, a sound. Faint, muffled, a sob. Ellie sat up, heart pounding now. She listened. It came again. Brief, cut off quickly, like someone had forced it to stop. Ellie moved toward her door, slowly, carefully. Her hand hovered over the handle. She hesitated, then the footsteps came back. Closer, right outside her door. Ellie froze, didn't move, didn't breathe. And then a voice, soft, calm, right on the other side. Everyone should be asleep. Mrs. Harlow. Ellie stayed perfectly still. After a moment, the footsteps walked away. Ellie backed away from the door, sat on her bed, pulled the blanket tight around her. Her heart didn't slow this time, not completely. She stared at the door, and that thought came back. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet, steady. Everyone in this house was quiet, but they weren't relaxed. They weren't comfortable. They weren't safe. They were careful. And Ellie realized something that she wouldn't fully understand until much later. People don't act like that unless they already know something is wrong. And by the time you figure out what it is, it's usually too late.